So I saw Fantastic Four First Steps the other week, and I have become quite disillusioned with Marvel. I mean, as we saw the other week from your Superman discussion, you couldn't care less about a lot of these comic book films.
Not really.
And yeah, I just think, Marvel's been on a downward spiral. We've kind of spoken about that. And I think, for the most part, they did pretty well with this. I'm kind of hopeful for Doomsday.
Right.
It's still going to be messy as all hell. The fact that, because there's been such less build up to it. But this has got me excited again.
So it was pretty well made then?
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's the thing to start off with. It feels like with this new Fantastic Four film, a lot of passion and effort has been put into it. Because it's set in this 60s retro timeline.
Okay.
And obviously it will link to the next Avengers film, but it's basically its own thing.
So there's another Avengers film coming.
Yeah, coming out next year.
I'm a little bit confused on the lore here. So
yeah.
Fantastic Four is linked to Avengers.
Yeah.
Is that a dumb question? That's probably quite obvious.
If you ask a real proper
be like, what? Of course it is, you dumbass.
Yeah, of course it. Yeah.
Okay, I never actually knew that. But
they are the first family.
Right.
They were the very first characters. They started it all.
So there's going to be now a new wave of Avengers movies coming up.
Yeah. There's 2 coming out.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. And with this film, I felt passion in the way it was shot, in the production design. I thought the production design was great.
Who's the director doing that?
So the guy, he's not a name people will be familiar with. He's called Matt Shackman, and he's mostly worked in TV, but he's done some really effective work in TV. He's worked on It's Always Sunny, one of my favorite shows.
Oh, really?
Directed a lot of episodes of Game of Thrones. And he's very detail orientated, which was in one of his other Marvel shows, WandaVision.
Yeah.
So he's very good at world building. Mm-hmm. And he actually, in a lot of his interviews, he said he was kind of inspired by Kubrick in 2001 in the aesthetic, I think, and the fact that they've really built a lot of these sets and use certain lenses. I mean, whether or not that comes through, one can be the judge of that.
Yeah.
But I thought it was pretty solid. And I think a lot of that has to come down to the performances. Mm-hmm. I mean, people are very harsh on Pedro Pascal.
Can we just get into this, right?
Yeah.
Briefly, why do people not like Pedro Pascal
because
at this point?
he's just been feeling anxious. That's why he's just an anxious guy at the moment.
Is that it? No,
he's in a bit too much of him. He's been everywhere.
But he's a good actor.
He is a good actor.
I'd understand if he was crap.
Perfectly cast for this.
He's too anxious.
And I thought, the chemistry they had was great. I mean, I think the standout for me was a shout out to Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm.
Yeah.
He was the bloody standout of the film.
Was he?
Just the way that they utilised his character.
So interesting. They've got Ralph Ineson, who was in the UK office and Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I mean, that was a standout. Galactus, fucking terrifying. And the fact that is Mr. Felix Finch from the UK office.
I know, right?
And he's so scary.
And he was in The Witch as well.
Yeah, no, crazy. And I think for the most part, the CGI was utilised really effectively. It was just a very visually, pleasing film.
That's good.
Compared to a lot of the other Marvel films, especially with Thunderbolts, which a lot of people enjoyed.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, Thunderbolts has put Marvel back on track. I didn't feel that. Maybe the second half. The first half felt like a typical Marvel film. Mm-hmm. But with this, apart from a couple of sketchy shots, because their baby is a big part of it.
Right.
You won't get that unless you know the comics.
Right.
This baby is going to be very important.
Okay.
It's very important in the comics. It's very important to the overall story. But there were a couple shots where there was a very sketchy looking CGI baby.
Yeah, right.
Apart from that, the CG was integrated pretty well.
Is it maybe just because it's a low bar at this point, because a lot of the Fantastic Four movies have been
I felt something with this film, because that's what a lot of the other Marvel films have been missing since Endgame.
Right.
They've really struggled to find their feet because before Endgame, even the lesser films, you kind of felt something at the beginning with the MCU, and then with Disney Plus, they would push for quantity over quality. It's just been there's been no direction. And to be fair, it doesn't completely absolve how messy the next Avengers film could be. Because the thing is with Endgame, going on a tangent here, there was a 10-year build-up for that.
Yeah, no.
They really took their time to establish all these characters. But with this, these latest phases, Marvel, it's a whole thing. They split into phases. It feels weird that we're getting the next event. It doesn't feel like that long. We're getting the next Avengers next year, and they only really started this phase since I'd say 2021. Yeah, 4 or 5 years, which are bloody. It doesn't feel like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. So hopefully they're not just trying to rush to get to it.
Yeah.
And the main thing that I just want, I don't mind something being sci-fi or have superheroes in it, but as long as it's coherent, as long as the movies actually kind of make sense together, they chain together in a way that actually, they all respect each other and they're not trying to outdo each other and they're not, recast thousands of times and all that stuff. They're coherently put together in a way that makes sense. And I think that's probably why the Avengers franchise works so well, is that you could feel that they're all kind of feeding into this big monumental moment.
That's what you felt at the beginning. When Marvel was at its peak, you absolutely felt that. I mean, I'd say 2017 to 2019, that was the best time to be a fan. The build up to Endgame, crazy.
Oh, I remember at the time you were
crazy,
just going nuts about that. Yeah,
absolutely crazy.
And I envy that anticipation that you had. It must have been insane.
Yeah. Oh man.
The whole
they're watching Endgame, and even though like I said, not as big a super fan as I used to be. God, I'll never forget watching Endgame.
Yeah.
In a packed cinema.
It's a shame that you say that, because it's probably to do with the fact that obviously you've just reached a peak at this point. But but it's also just to do with how saturated it is now. You're just there. There was a Avengers spin-off show, wasn't there, on Disney Plus?
Oh, there were many shows
exactly
on Disney Plus. Yeah,
I think maybe it's just to fucking forget about those. Discount those and just focus on the movies.
There's too bloody much to watch. But
exactly.
But I think we can safely say they finally got the Fantastic Four right, because in the past they have been the hardest, characters for them to crack.
Yeah,
I mean, like the films from the mid 2000s, they're fun. They're kind of, you can like laugh at how bad they are.
Why do you think they're so hard to get? Is it just that...
I don't know, because they're very, because sometimes filmmakers, they don't know which aspects to embrace of those characters.
Yeah.
Because the Fantastic Four can either be inherently goofy, or you can take them like so seriously. And either approach works, has done well. And I feel like this is a pretty good balance, because now they can embrace like a more colourful aesthetic, but still like have, ground it, have the stakes there. And that's what I quite liked about this film. And that comes from Matt Shakman, because he, like I said, he worked on It's Always Sunny.
Yeah.
So he's very good at juggling multiple characters.
Game of Thrones as well. That's mad.
Yeah. And like, it's overused, in the cliche of family, but you do feel the bond between these guys. I mean, especially with like Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm.
Yeah.
Some absolute like standout.
It felt genuine enough. It didn't feel too manipulative.
Definitely. You can tell these actors really get along.
How would you compare it to the Superman movie?
Very different. Very different. I think I would say between the two, like James Gunn is probably it's a bit more adventurous.
Yeah.
Then I'm a bit biased because I'm a massive James Gunn fan.
Yeah.
Takes more risks, but they're so different.
Yeah.
Good films in different ways, but no, like going back to the Fantastic Four. Like the mid 2000s films are kind of so bad they're good, and then I don't know if you know about Fan Four Stick.
Yeah, of course. That was
that was terrible.
Yeah.
And like the director had a big falling out of the studio, and he says, "Oh, I've got this really gritty director's cut that we may or may not see. Who knows?" But yeah, and because that was a case of them taking it really super seriously. But
really? Was it?
Like it's meant to be really gritty, and that's also a case of the time it came out. It was trying to be a bit like Dark Knight-ish.
Oh, I see.
Very serious.
Yeah.
Very mellow and stuff like that. And
they
it
just didn't have Chris Nolan.
And I don't know why these characters have been hard to crack, but it seems like they finally done it.
Yeah, great. That's good.